Look around any standard corporate floor, and you are watching an expiration date tick down. Algorithms and machine learning models are actively absorbing the repetitive tasks that used to define a safe, middle-class career. Many administrative and mid-level roles that once offered a steady career path are beginning to hollow out. This trend suggests that technical proficiency is becoming a moving target, putting pressure on anyone relying on a static skill set to last them through retirement. We can measure the exact scale of this transition. The World Economic Forum projects a massive economic restructuring over the next few years. This chart shows the gap in the global labor force. The shrinking red bar represents traditional jobs absorbed by automation, but look at the growing blue bar. 78 million new roles are opening by 2030. The empty space between them is the skills gap. With 78 million new roles emerging against the loss of traditional ones, staying stationary carries a high economic risk. The market is shifting its capital into these new sectors, and missing the pivot means losing access to the primary growth areas of the next decade. Historically, the default sequence was simple: spend 4 years getting a university degree and exchange it for a stable job. Today, however, employers prioritize immediate, deployable skills. If you rely purely on a traditional diploma, you satisfy the baseline HR requirements, but you enter the job market carrying substantial student debt, often equipped with technical knowledge that aged out of usefulness by your junior year. The counter approach to this is agile proof of work. This means bypassing the 4-year runway to acquire fast, focused certifications and building a public digital portfolio that proves you can execute right now. Major tech companies are forcing this structural shift. Corporate ecosystems like Amazon Web Services demand specialized proficiency that traditional universities struggle to keep up with. To secure one of those 78 million new roles, you face a distinct choice: invest significant capital into a heavily regulated physical world degree, or invest time into a high-speed digital portfolio. This diagram shows the 2030 job market matrix. It maps the top future-proof careers against your personal constraints. The horizontal axis measures the required skill type, from heavily technical systems to human and creative. The vertical axis measures the barrier to entry, from strictly degree mandatory down to purely portfolio-driven. The bottom left quadrant is agile tech. These are logic and code-heavy roles: AI engineers, cloud architects, data scientists, cybersecurity specialists, and software developers. They bypass diplomas entirely in favor of certifications. The barrier to entry here is brutal focus. You will spend 6 to 12 months intensely studying for platform certifications and building functional data projects. The upside is high leverage. By skipping university gatekeepers, you gain direct access to starting salaries ranging from $100,000 to $180,000 a year. The tax you pay is continuous obsolescence. In this quadrant, your entire tech stack will likely need a complete overhaul every 18 months. Your relevance is tied directly to what these corporate platforms announce. When they roll out a new machine learning framework on a keynote stage, your previous knowledge degrades and you go back to studying. Agile tech offers high compensation, but only if you treat learning as a permanent high-speed operating system rather than a one-time graduation event. This diagram also maps a path for creatives. Down in the bottom right is the agile human quadrant, featuring UX/UI designers and digital marketing creators. These roles require digital fluency, but skip the hardcore programming. You build credibility here outside of traditional institutions. Your resume is a live blog, a mock ad campaign, or a collection of wireframes prototyped in Figma. Because it relies on accessible tools, this is the absolute fastest route to pivot into the tech industry, unlocking salaries between $60,000 and $130,000. The catch is straightforward: supply and demand. The barrier to entry is extremely low, which means the junior market is heavily saturated with applicants. Just having a portfolio gets you ignored here. To land an interview, your work has to sit visually and strategically in the top 10% of the talent pool. Moving to the top left, we hit institutional tech. Roles like robotics engineer and renewable energy specialist are physically building the infrastructure of the future. These fields operate on legacy roles. You must dedicate 4 or more years and significant capital to secure mechanical or environmental engineering degrees. That investment buys you a secure job paying between $70,000 and $160,000. The cost is agility. If the market shifts, pivoting out of hard physical sciences is slow and difficult. That leaves institutional human. These are the healthcare and medical professionals. They do not write code. They manage complex human biology and require intense empathy. The gauntlet here demands grueling clinical rotations, massive student debt loads, and rigorous medical board exams just to legally touch the work. But the protective moat around these jobs is massive. They command salaries over $200,000 and remain the most heavily shielded roles against AI automation. The institutional paths offer a specific deal. You trade extreme upfront financial cost and physical exhaustion for career invulnerability. Mapping the market is only the first step. Deciding which path to take requires an honest audit of your own limitations. This flowchart asks the defining question: what is your primary constraint? It forces a split between those ready to invest years and those who lack time and money. If you are optimizing for long-term stability and can absorb high debt and a slow pace, you are a traditionalist. Your path leads straight to healthcare or physical robotics. If you are math-oriented and need to pivot without massive debt, you are a technical optimizer. You trade your weekends for constant upskilling in AI or cloud computing to chase uncapped earnings. And if you rely on soft skills and need an emergency exit from a dying industry, you are an agile pivoter. You leverage UX design or digital marketing to transition into tech rapidly. Securing a robust career is not about blindly picking the highest salary off a list. It is about matching the inherent trade-offs of the job to your specific risk profile. Regardless of the quadrant you target, the rules of engagement have firmly shifted. Continuous adaptation is the baseline requirement for survival in 2030. The rhythm of the modern workforce is entirely dictated by the innovation pipelines of corporate platforms, moving much faster than traditional academic curriculums can adjust. Legacy degrees provide a foundation, but they no longer act as a guaranteed shield. Verifiable, practical proof of work has become the default currency of the global economy. Success in 2030 depends on having verifiable proof that you can handle tomorrow's tools. Whether through an advanced medical degree or a high-speed digital portfolio, survival requires solving today's problems with a skill set that refuses to stay static.